That's impossible for me. That's not in the cards.
He said discussing, not agreeing.
Yeah, there you go.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Gary.
Brennan,
Here.
Chartrand,
Here.
Dahlhoff,
Here.
Fawcett,
Here.
Hathaway,
Here.
King,
Here.
Causer.
Here.
Legislator Mowerhand has been excused. Mosier,
Here.
Tabo.
Here. Everyone, please rise. We'll have an invocation. Lord, we ask for your blessing upon the assembled group here this evening. We pause and think about the times in our lives that are most important to us. And truly reflect on the times that it helps fellow citizens throughout our county. Whatever we can do to help people in our lives, them are the important things. And we try to stay focused on them. We call to mind people that have passed in our lives, and more recently, sister to Patty O'Brien, Joyce Powis. So at this time, we'd ask for a moment of silence. We pray for world peace. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All legislators should have, Mike working?
No.
Ron? Okay, good. Now, legislators should have received a copy of the June 6 meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections? Okay, if not, we stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6, Gary.
The Rules and Legislation Committee has met, and they recommend to waive the rules to act upon late resolutions this evening.
Moved by Brian, second by Dick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, and at this time, we will go to proclamation. We are very honored to have with us several students from some various schools. And it gives me a great privilege to ask some of the representatives to come forward this time. So what I'd like to do is get the advisors from Beaver River, Copenhagen, Harrisville, and Lowville to come forward. Somebody from your group to introduce yourselves. Would you step forward at this time?
Sure.
Yep. Please.
And the students too.
Yeah, the two students.
Yeah, students from each, they're supposed to represent their schools.
And line up over here. We televise our
Sure.
thing, and so the camera fits best.
Okay, first, could I have you advisors give your names, and then you could introduce the students on your team?
Sure. I'm the head coach of Lava. I'm Patrick Morris. And I have Hunter Burke, Elijah Engelhart, and May Muncie, all first-year shooters at Lava.
Okay, very good. And from,
I'm the head coach of Harrisville. Got Christian Butler with me. And Dave Finley in the back there.
very good.
I'm Cody O'Donnell, head coach of Beaver River. I've got Seth Miller, he's a captain on the team this year, and assistant coach Scott Miller.
Very good.
I'm one of the coaches from Copenhagen. This is Cody Zabriskie and Abby up there.
Okay, and then at this time, Terry, would you read the proclamation?
Certainly. Whereas the 2016-17 Beaver River Central School, Copenhagen Central School, Harrisville Central School, and Lowville Academy and Central School clay target track teams had 4 top 3 finishes in New York State High School Clay Target League. And whereas the event included 25 track fields, posing a real challenge compared to the average 2 that local students and coaches are accustomed. The teams competed in 3 conferences made up of 19 overall teams encompassing 370 individual students across New York, well above the number of participants in the inaugural New York event last year. Harrisville Central School took first place in Conference 1 against 5 other teams and had 4 shooters place in the top 10. Copenhagen Central School took first place in Conference 2 against 7 other teams, with 8 male shooters and 2 female shooters placing in the top 10. Beaver River Central School took second place in Conference 3 against 7 other teams, with 4 male shooters and 1 female shooter placing in the top 10. Laval Academy and Central School took third place in Conference 3 against 7 other teams, with 1 female shooter placing in the top 10. Whereas 18 students from Lewis County finished in the top 10 in their respective conference, 13 of which finished in the top 25 overall. The Lewis County Board of Legislators wish to recognize the students for their commitment and outstanding performance at the state level. And each one of the names. Now therefore, on behalf of the legislators, Michael A. Taball hereby recognizes and commends Keegan Wanseidler, Shane Spencer, Christian Butler, Alex Clark, Cody Zabritsky, Duncan Zabritsky, Hunter Hayes, Connell Carroll, Cody Buckley, Spencer Strife, Abigail Carroll, Allison Best, Ian Woodrick, Tyler Burns, Noah Simpson, Seth Miller, Montana Hoppel, May Muncy, and Hunter Burke as members of the high school clay target trap teams for their distinguished achievements. Now,
Legislator Mosher, would you present the proclamation to the Beaver River team?
Congratulations, son.
Thank you. Legislator Brennan, would you present the proclamation to the Copenhagen team?
I'm giving that to them, you didn't do anything.
Congratulations.
You know, I did. Cody and Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Legislator Hathaway to the Harrisville.
Where are you, Chuck?
You give it to.
I will do that.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Phil.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Legislator Sharsher to the Loudon School team.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And a great job by all of you. Thank Thank you for attending our meeting this evening.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You guys can hang out if you have insomnia problems.
Okay, don't all rush out at once.
I'll hang around.
I know. Soccer game.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya. You too.
Thank you, Phil.
At this time, we'll open our public hearing for comments on local law introductory number 3, providing for the establishment of wireless communication surcharge pursuant to tax law section 186G. Are there any comments from the public regarding
I have a
local
question.
law? Please.
Okay, my name's
Right.
Diane David Cole. I just got out of work, I got an email from my daughter, actually it's on Facebook. And I saw this and I just thought, there are a lot of people who don't know this.
Could you step forward and give your name again, please?
Diane Damon Cole.
Okay?
And I think I was not the only one who wasn't aware of it, and I had just some questions, but, you know, I know that this is one of the most impoverished areas around here. I know there's like, Lewis County has the lowest employment around. I know been a human service worker for about 20 years in this county, so I kind of know a little bit of stuff, but I'm just wondering how before 911 was paid and what's different now. Why do we need to take money and put a surcharge on people that are already taxed a lot, including myself because I'm retired, per device? How did that come about? I have no clue how that came about. Why it's coming, there's a tax rather than taking it from whatever funding source it came from before. That sort of questions. I have some more too. I mean, how did this initially come about?
Actually, it's a surcharge that's been on landline phones for a number of years.
That's why I dropped my landline phone.
Well, but there's still, anybody left with landline is still contributing to our emergency upgrades. And it's really, to me, it's not fair that you just get one group that stays with a landline phone while cell phone users get away with not contributing.
So that is more enlightening now. I see why that's.
And more so, we've done this more recently because we have put a lot of money into upgrades to our emergency system. And, it's a revenue that has to be taken in from somewhere rather than just tax.
And this is nothing that's being voted on? It's just, someone just decided this? I know the laws, New York State laws allow for it, I read that, but.
No, we didn't just decide it, that's why we have this public hearing tonight for comment. And that's why we don't typically go, to make a question answer for them, but it's a comment, and if we have a large number of people that are very upset and don't understand or agree with our reasoning, it may change our votes. But that's our intention is to, we've thought about this for a number of years, and it's our intention to take action and try to,
And
do
there's
something to.
no timeline for seeing if there's more people of interest? This is at me
Well,
tonight?
this public hearing was advertised, and it's your opportunity, people, that's why we do it legally. We legally advertise and give people notice, and if there is a lot of resentment, people have to respond, and fortunately, you take the time to come and voice your opinion, but, it's our rough job to come up with revenue to pay for these life-saving features that our county has.
And that was, I can see the justifiability, I guess, because so many people, like I said, I dropped Verizon because I was taxed to death. I dropped my landline because taxes. New York State is the highest tax state. I think it's the most expensive state to live in. Number 3, I think, the most expensive state to live in. And taxes, taxes, taxes. I guess my next question is, now it's 30 cents per device. Is there a cap at some place? We're going to put it at a cap?
Mr. Chairman, you want me to
Yes, go ahead.
comment on that?
Go ahead.
This is also a law initiated by the state. The revenues are going to be collected by the state, and then the county is supposed to receive its 30 cents per phone, per cell phone user from the state. So we're not sure that hasn't always worked in the past. So this is a revenue that the state would be collecting that's supposed to be sent on to the county to help pay for the cost of 911 service for all of us, including cell phone users and landline users. This has been the number for many, many years. Most other counties were on this plan. There were only about 6 or 7 counties that did not have this service, Lewis County being one. So my expectation is that it's not going to be something that's going to be increased in the near future because it's been at 30 cents for a long, long, long time.
I think that's the only question. Because I know I'm going to have a lot of people asking me. Because nobody in my office knew it either, so. I guess that's.
I'd like to add one thing. I guess from my perspective, and this is only my perspective, I'd rather spread the cost out to the people that are using it than I want, like with the cell phones, the landlines, That way, the tax is being spread out among the users of them devices, rather than just specifically on the landowner taxes. Because if we didn't get the 30 cents off the cell phones, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go after and we're gonna raise taxes
I
to
pay
create
those
that.
too.
Huh?
I pay those too.
Yeah, and I do too, I understand that. But the revenue's gotta come from somewhere, and being that most people are getting rid of their landlines, we're losing that revenue, so this is one way. And then that way the cost is spread across everyone that's using this system or using the cell phones, rather than just a portion of the landowners and property owners here in Lewis County. So that would be my perspective of it.
Well, that's pretty clear now. It's like I had no clue, and I think a lot of people don't have a clue, but, and I know it might be kind of nitpicking at 30 cents, but, and you did clarify that, so hopefully that will be the case, but, okay, thank you for your time. And,
Thank you for your
I'll
concern.
spread the news and see.
Thanks for
You
your
might have a
time.
lot of people here next week.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to comment on the local law at this time? Okay, we'll move to privilege of the floor. Does anyone have any other subject they'd like to discuss, privilege of the floor? Okay, we move to presentation of communications and notices. Terry.
The Lewis County General Hospital Auxiliary acknowledged the personal contributions from legislators and office staff in memory of Sue Bush, wife of former board chairman Jack Bush. Northern New York Community Foundation Executive Director Randy Richardson expressed appreciation for the county's allocation that will support their endeavor to establish the I-10 bike plan. Brian W. Smith submitted his resignation as a member of the Junkyard Review Board effective June 12, 2017. Mountain View Prevention Services Board of Directors President Evan Zier informed of the resignation of Executive Director Arlene Hall, while relating the board's commitment to provide the vital and valued services the schools and community rely on. The Adirondack Park Agency adopted a resolution in support of New York State's leadership in climate change policy. The board acknowledges receipt of resolutions from the Allegheny and Niagara County legislatures calling on the governor to convene a special session of the Assembly, and if necessary, the Senate, and to keep said body in session until such time as it takes up and passes home rule messages from all 53 counties reliant upon sales tax extenders to help fund state mandates. And a resolution to research the feasibility of individually filing or jointly a multi-plaintiff lawsuit against major drug manufacturers to recover current and future damages to taxpayers from abuse of opioid pharmaceuticals. And that concludes correspondence.
Okay, thank you, Terry. And now the reports of county officers and departments, Terry.
Legislators have received copies of the County Treasurer's June report, the June 23rd Highway and Solid Waste Audit Reports, minutes of the June 21st Youth Bureau Advisory Board and June 15 Junkyard Review Board meetings, and the second quarter Fed tax revenue report.
Thank you, Terry. We move to the reports of standing committees, Bill, taxation, IT.
Thank you. Both departments' budgets are on track. Next month, we'll be asking how much money they're gonna give us back, but right now, we'll just stay on track. Regarding real property, the biggest thing is that there has been an agreement done with what was known as the Lowville Dairy, that the owners of that have committed $460,000 to the EPA for a cleanup. And as part of that agreement, if it costs more, they're going to pay more. If it's less, they do have the opportunity to ask for redress. But right now, that would be in escrow, so it's there to be used. Some of the things that will be done is all the tanks will be cleaned above and below ground, and of course, taking away any bad materials. Contaminated soil will be taken away and restored. And obviously, they'll be testing afterwards. Mercury will be gone, even in the switches and that type thing as well, and drains and the piping will be cleaned. So the place, when it gets done, should be contamination free and will be monitored afterwards. So I have to commend Joan for taking the bull by the horns and getting this done for us, because it could have become a real issue for us in the future. Obviously, we wouldn't take it back in taxes with contamination, but it would still be there as a blight on the county.
Question, Phil, when it's all cleaned up, who will own the property then?
It's still owned by Tubro, which was the Lewis County Dairy.
So will they,
And they do owe back taxes, but again, we don't want to start the foreclosure proceeding until it's cleaned up. So I'd like to take the credit, Phil, but it was really Gary Bowich who this board approved for us to spend some of the tax auction money to have his expertise, and he is the one who really helped us and assisted us to go down the path to get the EPA to determine that this was a hazardous site that they would clean up. So it may take a while, but we'll get there.
He did it, but you're here and he's not, and I'm scared of you.
Wow.
go ahead, Phil.
Obviously, the agreement is 35 pages long with another 15 pages of attachments to it. So I'm giving you the really condensed version here, but that, I think, pretty much summarizes it quite accurately. And like Joan said, we don't own it yet. I guess they could conceivably pay their taxes and take it back once it's cleaned up, or we can foreclose but that'll be a future decision on everybody's part, I guess.
Phil, do we, and I might have missed it, do we put the cost of the cleanup on that tax roll? So that if they did try to buy it back, they would have to, in essence, pay for the cleanup?
No, they're paying for the cleanup now.
To
The company that owns it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have put
misunderstood that part.
$460,000 in escrow for the cleanup. And part of that agreement is that if it costs more, they're gonna pay more.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, awesome, you're right. And real property is continuing their efforts of this long process of 911 addresses. This is going to be a long-term situation, but they're continuing their efforts. As we heard last month, they had started down in this neck of the woods, and now they're going to be talking to the Lake Bonaparte people this month, and then they'll probably move on to other problem areas after that. Broadband, that is progressing to Adam's satisfaction, probably not to the satisfaction of the people that want it so badly, but Adam has explained it to us. It's just a process, and it takes more time than what we would like it to take. But apparently, Joan, correct me if I'm wrong, but the MOUs are done and they would go to the radio committee now?
Yeah, they're being reviewed by the radio committee.
Okay. So once they get done, then probably things will move quite rapidly. And all the other projects, as far as IT is concerned, is on track, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Bill. Rocky?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to report on Department of Social Services first. Lewis County is putting 24 students to work under the Summer Youth Employment Program. We had 8 returning students and 16 new ones. We received 76 applications. Of that 76, 35 verified all the necessary information. We have 2 students at 40 hours a week, 19 students at 35 hours per week, 3 students in part-time positions ranging from 20 to 27 and a half hours, 1 private business, and the rest are nonprofit or government. And I do have like to make a motion for Department of Social Services, motion to authorize DSS Commissioner to fill a full-time community services worker effective immediately.
Moved by Rocky, second by Craig. Discussion?
Is that a retirement or?
It's been a temporary position for most of the year, so we, because of a backfill and a promotion, so this is making this position finally permanent.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions on Rocky's motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Office of the Aging, don't forget Seniors Day at the Lewis County Fair on Thursday, July 20th, beginning at 9:25 a.m. There's going to be a lot happening and bands playing and music going crazy and a lot of little old people dancing like crazy. I do have some motions for Office of the Aging. A motion to authorize OFA Director Brenda to refill 2 part-time aging services aides Title V at $9.70 an hour. The current aides are nearing their durational time limit set by New York State Office of the Aging.
And do you move that motion, Rocky?
I make the motion.
Second by Jerry. Discussion?
Does that wage agree with the minimum wage law and everything now in New York State?
Yes, minimum wage. That's what it is.
That's what it is right now, thank you.
Yeah.
I know what's going on, good question, yeah.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the director to refill the full-time long-term care coordinator effective immediately due to the resignation of Leah Schneider.
Okay, moved by Rocky, second by Phil. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And the last one is motion to authorize the director to refill the full-time EISEP case manager position effective immediately due to a resignation.
Okay, moved by Rocky, second by Dick. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
That's it for that. Youth Bureau report. Election of officers. In an effort to mentor student representatives, the Youth Bureau unanimously approved to change their bylaws to reflect co-chairs for the chairperson office position. John Exford, member of the Youth Bureau Board, and Jacob Hartle, student representative from Harrisville Central School, were elected to be co-chairs for a 2-year appointment. 2017 OCFS Youth Development Funds for municipality-run recreational programs were awarded as following. A total of $6,000 was available. Village of Port Leyden, Summer Recreation Program, $1,000. Town of Gregg, Summer Recreation Program, $1,000. Lowville Recreation Commission, $1,000. Village of Krogan, Recreational Program, $1,000. Town of Krogan, Recreational Program at Beaver Falls Beach, $1,000. Village of Harrisville, Recreational Program, $1,000. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, Rocky. Ryan, County Officer, Veteran Junkyard H&R.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Veterans didn't meet this month. Our new Director of Veterans will meet with us next month. It's every other month, Stephen, but from what I understand, he's doing well, and I know that we approved a position for him, an office specialist down there. I don't know if anyone's filled that position yet or not, so Chris isn't here too.
Yeah, he's back there.
Is he Chris?
He's conducted interviews.
Okay, all right.
Hired, yeah.
All right, thank you, Chris. And then on the junkyard end, the review board had met an extra night this past month, and from what they the feelings I'm getting is that they would like to stay intact until at least the first of the year, because we've been talking about possibly dissolving the review board, is really, and I mean, from where the committee sits and what we've discussed amongst men with Joan also, is that they've really, everything that's given to them, it's black and white. So if they're giving waivers and stuff, they're going outside of the written law. So we were thinking that possibly that just dissolving that and letting Ward do their job and then bring forth everything to the committee, the junkyard review board, or my committee, to handle it from there. But they were kind of hesitant about that. So you'll see in here, they were down, we didn't even have a quorum last month because Brian Smith resigned. John Boyd is health reasons right now, and we had 2 open vacancies. But they did submit, and you're gonna have a resolution tonight that Paul Kaffline is being put forth as a committee member of the review board. So that will give them a quorum out of the 7, so.
So they would like to continue?
They would like to continue and come back to it again at the first of the year and see how things are going. I guess the biggest concern that I heard from them is that they want to make sure that there's some oversight, that there's people making sure that things are getting followed through. So
I can understand that, Brian, and I can see where they are of value, even though things are spelled out.
Right.
They can make sure that everybody's doing their job correctly.
Right.
To get to that final stage.
I guess the pitch I gave them though, Craig, is that because they're coming to me or Jerry or Larry to make sure that we're following through on that stuff. We're doing that on our end anyways now. So I guess my feelings were it's just one less level of bureaucracy that you have to deal with.
They're not paid, are they?
No, they're not paid, but we've been struggling to have board members on there. So I mean, I guess what I'll suggest to them here in August is that they change their bylaws, reduce the membership down to 5, and then that way they pretty much will have a quorum all the time. So, but that's up to them. But other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, Brian. Question?
Yeah, from some of the older legislators, longer-serving legislators.
I take it.
Why was that review board created in the first place, or has it always been in place?
Been there since I can remember.
Been there since 2000, I know of.
Was there a reason for its creation?
I don't know the history.
Okay.
Well, what they,
Probably when the junkyard law went into effect. I think that's when it was created.
Essentially what it was is the junkyard enforcement officer went back to them, put out what he found, and they either said clean it up or give him a little bit more time than this. The junkyard guy couldn't operate on his own, so it was kind of a checks and balances.
Oh. Okay. Fine, thanks.
Hey, Jerry, Carson Law.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you got an email, committee as a whole on the 13th at 9:30 for all fellow legislators. RF that's out with the engineers for the paging. They're re-looking at it, see what they got to do. We should be hearing something around July 11th for that, for the paging. Excuse me, we're getting together prices and getting to find out what the interoperability phase of it, which would be 3 tower sites, that was part of our grant. So we'll see if we got enough. The state, as I told you before, made us put $350,000 into interoperability because we're getting that completed. So when we get those estimates, we'll be back to give you information on that. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to authorize Sheriff Carpinelli to refill 1 part-time dispatch / correction officer effective immediately due to resignation.
Okay, moved by Jerry, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And he does have another
Carried.
correction officer that they haven't hired yet. It's floating around, They're taking their time, but they need this one. So, thank you.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Larry, Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start off with a list of motions here. First one, to authorize Planning Director Frank Pace to travel to Washington DC from September 12th through the 14th, 2017 for the annual Farm Days Conference with the U.S. Senate.
Okay, that's moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion?
But any expected outcomes from that, other than getting a national view?
It gives us a national exposure.
Gives us the exposure.
You have any comments that you'd like to add to it, Frank?
What we do is, we listen, throughout the year, we listen to the farmers and the issues that the farmers have, and we're their voice when we go to these meetings. One of the things that we've been working on, which actually may come to fruition this year, past 2 years, we've been discussing with them about the surface water issues, the new EPA regulations, and dealing directly with farms, and they're supposed to be loosening up some of those regulations, which hopefully we'll find out this year whether or not they go in. So we're kind of their voice. I go with Cornell Cooperative, and we go there with concerns and issues, and we're able to voice them to the various communities.
Sounds good, thank you, Frank.
I thought that surface water thing was a done deal.
It's supposed to be the last document I seen that they hadn't finalized it, but there's supposed to be some lessening of the regulations.
That's good.
Yes, yep, that'll be helpful.
Any other comments on Larry's motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to authorize Recreation, Forestry, and Parks Director Jackie Mahoney to travel to Manchester, New Hampshire from August 22nd through the 27th, 2017 for the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council and International Off-Highway Vehicle Administrators Association Conference.
That's a mouthful. Moved by Larry, second by Craig. Discussion. All in favor of Larry's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Phil?
No.
That's on camera, though.
Motion is carried.
Motion to purchase a $1 million cybersecurity insurance policy with a $25,000 deductible from the Russell Bond Company for a premium of $8,122.75.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion. Larry, could you elaborate a little bit? I know that was a little tough call for our committee, I believe.
There were 3 levels. First, the lowest level being $1 million coverage. Second level was $2 million. That was around $10,000 or $11,000. The third level was $3 million of coverage for around $14,000. One of the attractive benefits of purchasing one of those policies where they come in and they do an assessment, a risk assessment for us, identify what their thoughts are and potential risks that the county might have. And it would sort of, if we were to do that risk assessment alone, it probably would be in the $8,000 range. So this way, the IT department gets the benefit of a assessment, and we get the benefit of $1 million coverage for approximately what we would spend on a assessment if it was standing.
Any other questions regarding the motion?
Does that cover replacement of stuff that we lose if we have a attack, or just what are we covering?
This is
predominantly to help us cover if we lose personal data, then we are required to provide them with.
Protects us from our liability from that, then okay.
And another example, Dick, is like what happened with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Excelis. For a couple of years, I was part of that part. So what I got is 3 years of free credit monitoring. That would be much, yeah, that would be covered under that.
I didn't know if it was equipment, material, or liability, so it's fine.
Liability.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Motion to authorize the county attorney with Jackie Mahoney's assistance to negotiate possible purchase of a certain parcel of land in town of Martinsburg, which runs from Cable's Corners to the Martinsburg line. The property is owned by Corrigan, and it would be used for the ATV trail system. It would authorize the county attorney to negotiate an option to purchase only at this point the parcel for up to $20,000 with the option extended for 2 years with consideration for the option not to exceed $2,000. So basically, we're authorizing Joan to come up with a purchase option to buy that piece of land at a negotiated price up to $20,000 for a period of 2 years to exercise the option for $2,000.
You make that a motion?
I'll make a motion.
The option's $2,000.
The option is $2,000 for 2
Mike, will you
years.
just second?
$1,000 a year.
Okay, it's moved by Larry, seconded by Craig. Discussion. How much land is that, Larry, roughly, acreage?
It's about 5 acres, Jen.
Roughly, yeah.
And this would come out of trail fund monies.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just a couple of quick other bullets here. The town of Lowell received a fully executed agreement that we can now draw down on the $75,000 in funding for the Hospital Hill drainage project, and we hope to start moving on that soon. The math program for the summer is full with 32 students. We had set the maximum at 30, but managed to fit in a couple more. We will be putting in a CFA application for a grant for trail system development, including the truck and personal expenses. The Village of Seaville has passed their local law to amend the ATV access to gain the legal access to the Alpine and Nice and Easy and off-road trails located on James Street to connect the off-road trail in the town of West Huron. The towns of West Huron and Leiden both passed local laws to open portions of the Neff, Ziegler, and Pitch Road so that we have legal access to get to the off-road trails located on those roads. And that is the end of my report, Mr. Chairman. Are there any questions?
It was a long one, Larry. I told you so, I didn't need more.
Further questions for Larry? Thank you, Larry. Craig, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start off with two motions. A motion to award the bid to BC&A Architects and Engineers for a strategic facilities plan at a cost of $48,000.
Moved by Craig, second by, no second? Larry. Larry seconds the motion. Discussion. Jerry.
Yeah, where did we move this forward?
In committee.
The last time, okay.
I guess reviewed all the
I guess my concerns are, well, whatever. I guess one of the questions is, that why are we spending any money if we don't have a commitment of legislators here to follow it once we do it, because we spent $900,000 out of the building. So if we have no intentions of staying with us, I really don't think we should spend the money. That's me personally.
I totally agree that it requires a commitment on the part going forward.
Yeah.
If you get the plan, you execute the plan as given.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. I'm not gonna be here next year, so that's a commitment I won't be making. I think it's necessary over the period of time I've been here. There's never been an agreement on how to go forward with the campus and the buildings of this county. And that's why that's what it's designed to do.
Didn't we cover a lot of that in the comprehensive plan that they did in like 2010 or 12? No?
Wasn't all of that done.
This is gonna look at all the facilities.
This is
All
all
the employee
encompassing
needs.
highway, this is all encompassing.
All
highway,
encompassing.
Garage,
All
everything.
departments. And what they're gonna look at is a 5-year plan on how to best, including looking at the financial aspects. That's part of the agreement. How to develop the plan that we all agreed upon, and that requires a meeting of all of us with the selected firm, that we all agree upon it, and then we move forward, and they report back to us periodically as to where they're at, and then they make the recommendations of how you execute this plan over 5 years. How you do it budget-wise, how you do it priority-wise, etc. And it gives you focus, and if we can all agree to it, then you're gonna have focus and you're gonna have results.
I guess my feelings are if we vote yes on this, then we're basically committing to doing what they're suggesting to us when they come to their conclusions. So I guess my question is everyone ready to make that step to commit to follow through on this?
Well, you don't till they tell you, Brian.
Well, I realize that you're gonna spend $48,000 before this group even commits to saying, we will do something when they come up with a plan. That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah,
I get it, but I don't know how you would do it otherwise.
Don't you think we ought to look at our finances first and see if we got any money?
Well, that's what I'm
I
saying.
think we're getting the cart before the horse.
What do you think, Dick? You've been promoting this.
I've asked for a master plan since I became a board member 4 years ago.
Me too.
I've always worked with plans. It's called a plan, but it's more than a plan, what I'm envisioning it to be. I don't think we can go back collectively and say, well, this is our number 1, this is our number 2, this is our number 3, and why. That additionally, I don't think we can go back and say, well, we moved 1 to 4 because of. So it's more than just a list of what you're going to do for projects. It's a compilation of actions that we take and why we took them. So that as board members change, like I asked tonight, why did we have that committee? No, we didn't know, and then it's just human nature. I'm not finding fault in anybody, it's just human. You can't remember what happened 8, 9, 10 years ago. So that's why I've kind of been for it, so that we can have a place to go to see why we're doing and what's changed, should we make a change to it? Because we don't do that, we haven't done it yet.
Could I ask Ryan maybe for input, because you've been in this business long enough?
Yeah, the way I see it, and I understand what you're saying completely, Jerry, but the way I would look at it, and maybe helps us get our minds around a little bit differently, is we're spending $50,000 so that we know how to spend $10 million correctly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a relatively small amount
that's a good way
when
to
you
put
look at, look at the physical plant that we've got all across the county. That's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of aging infrastructure. So you spend a little bit of money, it gives you a plan at least.
But if you can't fund it, why spend that money? Because you're gonna have to update it when you find the money again. I'm serious, you know?
Yeah,
But
well,
at
some point you don't have a
We
choice.
did with highway, with the equipment. We came up, that would be a piece of the master
Yeah,
plan.
that's fine.
When we said, okay, we're going to now buy a piece of equipment each year, or we're gonna lease a piece of equipment, which way we're gonna go with it. See, that's part of what I see as a master plan.
Okay.
And it's working good at
That was
highway.
done by our own people.
By our own people,
Yeah,
right,
that
but
we're
that one
not
worked
spending
good.
$48,000 to somebody to tell us how to spend our money.
Well, that was one little piece, but I
Well, yeah, I
don't
understand it's one little piece of
I
it,
don't
but
think we
it's
can do the whole
still,
thing.
it's still,
Yeah.
it was done by our people, and we didn't spend $48,000 by doing that research. I just don't know, that was the lowest bid. It was put out for bid.
Yeah, the bids were 48,000 by Bernier and Carn, probably because they had a big part of it done with the building they proposed 5 years ago, or 2 years, 4 years ago.
But everybody should have had
Six-
access to that.
Well, they would. 68,000 Barton La Judas, 295,000 by Delta. They're the three that responded.
So how long does it take them, the expectation to complete it?
He did a timeline in the, I don't have that in front of me. I think about 6 months is the timeline I'm thinking it is. They start off with coming in and sitting down with all the board and finding out what each and everyone's dreams are, expectations.
They meet with each department head too and talk
Yep.
about space needs, budgetary concerns, all that kind of stuff.
Then they assess all the buildings as to longevity.
But we built or designed a building, it's taken everybody, this will be the 5th time we do people's space study. How many times have we have to do this? And why do we keep doing it? Are we expecting different answers? Nothing has changed.
Jerry, did that include highway?
It did not include highway for space.
Okay, well, this will include highway, all the government
I'm
entities.
just asking, I mean, I think.
No, I
we
appreciate
put the
it.
cart before the horse, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they already spent, what, $800,000?
$800,000
On
designing
engineering
a
a
building
building
that
that
we
never got
walked
built.
away from. So what's to say any different, it isn't gonna happen
If you had a
again?
master plan, you might not have spent that 800,000.
Would this
We
board,
had a plan, what we were gonna build
For the
in
building,
what
Jerry.
order.
I'm saying
And
you had a
every time
master
you
plan.
get some new legislators, the direction changes. So what's to say, we got new legislators coming? Who knows? I could have a phone be beat. Who's to say, and that's not going out door January 18th?
The
When you
plan
get
won't
3
go out
more.
the door with you and I. The plan will stay with the legislature.
Unless they wanna change it.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying.
So, whatever.
would this board like to hear from Bernier and Carr to see what they've got to offer and give it some more thought before you accept the bid? Would that
I think
help?
that's a good idea.
Would that help? I mean, just to find out what kind of information, I mean, I'm not gonna be here next year, and I see some resentment from the people that are, and
Well, it's not resentment, it's just
well,
that.
concern or.
Well, concern,
Yeah.
like, because
So-
it's just like the space analysis, we've already done this, like Jerry said, in the past, before I was here.
For
most of us
everybody
were.
other than highway.
You know, the space analysis has been done for all the office space, it just hasn't been done for the highway department.
So if this
So-
service is being offered, you ought to know darn well what you're gonna get.
I mean, I guess if I was a vote, I want to make sure that we aren't going to do a reevaluation of our space analysis for the office space, that it's just direct, that they're just going to do highway. I mean, we already know that we need space. I mean, before we were on, when we voted down when the new building got voted down, we already knew that DSS was going to occupy the whole second floor. You knew that you were going to put people on the bottom floor. You already knew that you were going to renovate and upgrade the heating system and everything at the DSS building. So the mechanical parts and the space parts were already analyzed in that. It's just that the group backed out of what they were planning on doing. I guess my concern is that we spend this $50,000, and I understand where you're coming from, Dick, but if we choose not to do anything about it, it was $50,000 spent for nothing if we choose not to move forward with anything. That's my only
Yeah,
concern.
if we're not gonna move forward, you don't.
No, that's what I mean.
But I think we've got money that we are gonna move forward with some ideas.
Right, no, and I understand that.
I mean, I beg to differ on that, because we just put $4 million into a college, and there's very little left. So if it's nickel and dime, yeah, we can do it. If it's anything major, what we got left, you may disagree with me.
Jerry, we
But
didn't
it's
put
gonna
4
be
million
fine.
into a college.
Huh?
That did not come to fruition.
And not yet, it's still planned.
JCC backed away, and that's my next motion.
Just recently,
Yeah.
okay? Well,
So that 4 million has not been spent. But just to
I
add
didn't say
to,
it been spent, but if we believe in it, how many times can you spend the same amount of money? I've asked you that before. So whatever you want to do, we'll vote on it and we'll move out from there. It's
We
not
can
your
either
fault.
vote on it now or table it.
I have one more question.
Sure.
And I don't know how to present. Would this study include any, the business park and any other buildings that we might be contemplating purchasing?
yes.
Okay.
Should, I mean, if you're gonna spend money on it, the reasons why, and if we're already in the system, why it's that priority should be in that, should be it.
And to determine if such sites were to be utilized to their maximum ability, so to speak. Okay.
And quite frankly, I would suspect, and I can only suspect, that if we offer the bid to the low bid, Bernier and Carr, and they decide to take this plan and go with it, that they'll use those plans they had for the building that didn't get built 4 years ago, and just plug that into the whole greater scheme of things. Because that space analysis has been done. And that's probably why they're half as much as the next closest bidder, or 2/3. So that may very well be part of it, why they bid so low. Don't know.
Future add-ons.
But they're gonna look at buildings, their life expectancy, their infrastructures, their mechanicals, and then decide which ones become a priority, which services become a priority, and then if you can buy into it, they will also have a payment plan on how we finance it, because part of this study agreement is looking just at that particular facet of the plan.
Construction bonding, you mean?
Yeah, how you would finance it.
Dick, you got a comment?
Yeah, I mean, we've had people come in and make presentations before. I would suggest not in August, but maybe in the meeting in September, we invite Bernie Carr for an hour before a regular meeting, just to explain master planning and what its use is and stuff a little bit more. I think then we'd all be on a level understanding of the master plan, at least in my
I would like to see somebody be supportive, the whole board be supportive. If there's resentment, we're
Well,
not gonna get information.
I think you need understanding before you be supportive, so maybe that would give us, give you a chance to ask questions.
I don't see resentment, I see discussion,
Yeah.
what's the right thing to do, and, you know, I mean, you either bonding or you're finding money within, so.
So again, do you want to vote on the motion now or table it?
Mr. Chairman, I think if you vote on it, then you can't call them in to get further information. If you
Right.
vote to go forward and people don't want to, then there's no sense in having them come in later on. It seems to me you would have to table it now, have them come in and then decide, if you're gonna go that way.
Well, the proposals were provided
Yes.
from all the
But if you're
perspectives.
gonna award the bid, then we're awarding the bid to them, so people need to understand that.
Well,
That's why I asked this one or the other.
Right.
Either we vote on it or vote it down or vote it for it or table it. But I need a motion to table it if you want more information.
Thank you, Phil.
Moved by Phil makes a motion to table the motion. Second by
Do you need a second for a table motion?
Yeah.
Second by Greg. All in favor of tabling Craig's motion, say aye.
Could we put a
More
time frame on that
information,
before we
right?
go?
Table, you can bring it up anytime.
Phil,
September meeting?
would you mind just put a time, table it till?
I thought the September idea was a good idea,
Okay.
or August, I don't know why. Why'd you say September?
August is our morning meeting where we meet in the morning and we try to be out here by noon.
Okay.
Okay, so Phil's motion
Table
is to
it until
table
we can
till
have them
September.
come in September, is that what you
That sounds good.
need to say?
Yep, and it was moved by Greg. Any further discussion on tabling? All in favor of tabling, say aye. Opposed? Show Craig Brennan opposed. Motion passes.
That was fun. What's your next motion?
Motion to have Chairman Table compose a letter of request to State Senator Joe Griffo to unencumber $250,000 allocation for the JCC education extension.
A move by Craig, second by Dick. Discussion.
So you're effectively asking him to still send us the 250,000 and unencumbered?
No, unencumbered.
Just the opposite, we're allowing him to go ahead and do it someplace else.
The rationale behind it was in a discussion with a good senator, and he knew this thing with JCC was falling apart.
Okay.
He asked that in a timely manner, we unencumber that money so he can use it.
Okay, got it.
Hopefully, if we move it forward with some of the other entities we're talking with, then the money will be there again.
Okay.
But this,
Mr. Chairman, can I just add a few things on
Go
that
ahead.
as well? It appears that JCC is not looking to go forward with the plan at this time because of the state funding hit that they took. So I'm not sure that we're totally out of the park with JCC. We are for right now. The senator does have other interested parties and constituents to give that money for, and it is done on a year-by-year basis. So part of what we would also request in that letter is that, Mr. Chairman, that you advise the senator that we may in fact be looking for that next year or at some time in the near future, because we are continuing to talk with JCC and with other educational providers in the area. So maybe something will come up and maybe we will have that extension center at some point. So it's not a foregone conclusion that it's out of the picture, the extension center. That's my point.
Jerry, comment?
So then potentially we ought to keep the 4 million what it was intended for a little while yet, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
okay, buildings and grounds, Frank reports that he's on budget. He sent out an RFP to fix the Sallyport gate up at Public Safety. And the bids come back, Alpha Fence was the lowest bidder, but then they determined that they didn't show up to do a site inspection, they miscalculated, the gate they bid on didn't fit. So they had to come back with another bid that increased the amount to within $500 of Alpine Fence in Watertown. So we, as a committee, decided to accept the bid from Alpine because they were up front. Even though it's $500 more, they were spot on with their bid, and we hopefully will get good results from them. So, I don't know if that's in the packet. Can't remember when I read ahead. We all know that the sales tax extension did pass, and that takes a big load off all of us. The county clerk is still negotiating with Tops Plaza for that parking lot to do DMV testing. If we don't find a suitable site, DMV is going to pull the CDL testing from us. And it'll all have to go somewhere regionally. So they're working very hard at trying to get a parking lot that meets the specs of DMV. And that is one that does.
Craig, do we have income that comes from the road test being held in Lewis County?
I can't answer that.
So
I said, oh yeah, we must, because we share
Yeah, we
in
know.
revenues on everything we do at this office.
So licensing revenue, you're taking the
Well,
road test to get a license. So when you get your license, that's a piece of work.
And I don't know what their share is of testing. I don't, but we could find that out.
I don't know if it costs money to take a road test, does it?
That's all part of your pre-licensing.
It's part of your pre-application, but it's quite big on a CDL, isn't it? 250 or?
Well, it depends on, it all
What
depends
class?
what class and how many endorsements you get and everything else. Your road test is the same. The endorsements are all written tests, so.
Right.
I mean, but it's no different when you take your car, your road test in your car, you don't get your license, that's already paid for then when you go in to get your permanent license, you go to that DMV office and do it, so. So I'm
If nothing
assuming
else
that
is-
I'm assuming that that's where this is coming from. If we keep it here, then there's more likelihood that they'll go to our DMV license to get their permanent license rather than someplace else.
But even bigger than that, they may have to go to Utica from here, so this helps our constituents out by being able to test here rather than go to Utica or something.
It's a huge convenience.
It's quite a ways away, I'm not sure Watertown's got one.
Watertown does have one, and they do them on Fort Drum. I've done some research on that, because I already reached out to the truck driving school down to Syracuse here about 8 months ago to see if it's a possibility that we could work something out, but because it's on Fort Drum, they only do it for the servicemen.
Well, we just had a large shared services meeting last Tuesday, and that could now become.
But that could now, okay.
There was something about going from here to there, even that was a further distance in DMV line or something.
Yeah.
But we might be able to open that up through a shared services contract.
That concludes my report.
Now, I don't believe there's a resolution in here for that Sally Port. Were you gonna make a motion, or did you approve?
Does that have to
spending
go in,
money?
we approved it in committee.
Okay.
It doesn't have to go to a motion?
I don't know what the amount is.
Should we say about?
Well, I don't have that in front of me.
Well, you said,
No, it,
$2,000.
yeah, it's the
Oh.
procurement policy would allow for, he had to get 3 quotes, and so you're saying.
Yeah, he's
where
well
that-
within.
He
yeah.
did, and so it's under that $5,000.
Right.
that's fine, you had indicated you didn't know whether it was in
I
here.
couldn't
or not.
remember, I read it and read
Just wanted to
it.
make sure we addressed it.
Well, you have the gas line thing too, which is 8,600 highway, but you'll address that, right?
Right,
Yeah, it's in the packet, I believe.
Yeah.
okay, we'll go to Greg, transportation.
Well, I don't have any motion, thank God.
Don't be shy.
I'll go with highway first. Met Dave Becker's, picked some engineers for the Sears Pond Bridge, which was B&L Engineers. He basically has a list of 30 to 60 different engineering companies, and he picked from the top 5. So they're in the top 5, and we're in budget. We do have the underground pipeline down at the depot that got to have some maintenance done. Doctor Environmental is going to do the work. They've been doing the work for several years. They know what they're doing with it. It's going to cost $8,600, and we're going to have to figure out what to do with that whole scenario down there. You know, I asked Dave to come up with some figures on replacement, bringing it above ground, leaving it below ground. We also talked about the WEX card, but that seems to be an issue with trucks trying to get into some of these places to be feasible. I mean, just wouldn't work. I mean, when they go in with a plow to nice and easy, I don't think there'd be a car that wouldn't get hit probably. So he'd like to keep the depot. You know what I mean? He'd like to keep the fuel. We talked about, discussed maybe raising the price we charge outside people, the DOT and school. We only charge 6 cents. We only add 6 cents on for cost for them to come down and fill up. So we talked about going to 20 just to help with the cost of repairs and replacement and all that. Other than that, that was the biggest subject. Osceola Road for snowmobiling was another subject. I believe there's, in fact, there's something with approval of that. He talked about Nick Schneeberger is going to be retiring here soon, and Dave would like to, get somebody in there in advance. So he's looking at 3 months before he leaves, he wants to put somebody in there. So that'll be coming up here shortly. Solid waste. We're going to have a Household Hazardous Waste Day on September 9th, 8 to noon at the Wildwood Transfer Station. And Dank, of course, is so graciously picking up the bill. So that's very helpful. and it seems like it goes over very well. Pete requested to purchase a 50-yard open top box, and usually replaces them one per year. I do believe, didn't we get an email, he wanted to get the second one so he could save on delivery costs. So he sent out an email after we approved getting one, so we could get a deal by saving about $1,200 on delivery costs if you already got two. So he asked, he has the money in budget, so going all right there. We talked about, because we got a letter for a citizen about tires and recycling of tires and having a tire recycling day because other counties have done it. Jefferson's done it, St. Lawrence has done it. Well, the funding for that was through the senators up there. Richie got money and he's pursuing Senator Griffo to possibly sponsor a recycling day for tires. Because it's our cost is pretty expensive to take those tires down to Seneca. And then the recycling and trash tonnage report was shared, and it seems like the clear bags recycling is up because of the usage of the clear bag. The trash was up too. Then I'll go into a little report on double play. I went to, well, the second board meeting I've been to. The last board meeting of double play, he requested that I, check to see if I can bring one of the planning department people in to, go through with their, update them with their vision and what they want to do. And so I called Frank Pace, and he graciously agreed to have his planner, Cassandra Buell, assist double play and go to the board meeting. And they were very appreciative of that fact. And Cassandra did a really good job. She provided information that she had researched prior to going to the board meeting, and the board was very impressed with her. And I'm going to request that she continue to come to the board meetings of double play because she was very helpful in assisting them, and she was very professional. She really did a great job. I really want to thank Frank for making sure she was able to go. The summer rec program here in Lowville, they have 125 kids already signed up. Last year there was only 40. So they've already, and it's offered at no cost to the families. So they've already gotten better. They're still in the process of looking for the appropriate spaces for the satellite locations. They did add 2 days of programs to the Port Lyden rec program. They're going to have interns from Pratt Northrum that they have down there and work with the kids down there, because they want to do more than just kick the ball around and all that. They want to have art and music. They're also going to have families swim twice a week at the pool here, and 6 to 8 a.m. they're going to do the adult swim, and at 3 to 4 p.m. at the high school, kids are going to be able to utilize the gym in the weight room with the double play system.
So that's the site for the Lowville rec program?
Kids over here at school, yep. And all kids are welcome. It doesn't matter whether they're from Harrisville or Port Lyden or wherever, they're all welcome. So that seems to be going well. Actually, none of the county money's been used yet for any of this yet. They are going to probably use possibly $2,000 of it for this summer rec program here. But that encompasses all, anybody who wants to come from anywhere in the county. So, but that was the report I had from them, and that's all I got for you.
Very good, Greg. Questions?
The county highway, what are they keeping? Diesel and gas?
Just diesel.
Just diesel?
Diesel is the only thing they have down there now.
That's what I thought, okay.
In fact, they got 2 tanks. They cleaned the one that was gas, and then now it's diesel.
If we're just keeping diesel, Greg, if we, and believe me, I agree with Dave, it should be kept down there because there's no way, you only have Mullins to fuel up here in Lowell.
Well, you got nice and easy.
Yeah.
If you wanna try to
That's
get, I
even
watched
worse
the
than
one, I
trying-
tried to get in.
Yeah, I fueled up at both places, so, and then all you have on the southern end is a lot, so.
Right.
So I agree, but, has he been looking into what he can do? Because I know at our work, we have like a 10,000 gallon tank above ground with a retention system around it. That's a little less costly than
Yeah, that's what
burying.
we're having to do,
Okay.
is price it out.
Okay.
Go both ways, you know, see what we can get. Yeah, I'd prefer it above ground, I
Actually, Griffiths has got diesel, right? You drive right through, I've seen big log trucks sitting there.
Yeah, Griffiths, yeah, they do, that's right too, Dick, I forgot about that.
But I think it's better down there too. I
Yeah,
just didn't know about the
because
gas.
of the volume of
Yeah.
business, I
Yeah.
mean, the school buses, and, you know, DOT plows.
What are the tanks that are there scheduled to be replaced? There's a time on those. Is there much time left?
Oh, I don't think there's much time left on those. I think they've been in for over their service time.
I thought, Greg, he said like 23 and 25 is the life expectancy.
And
They're
there.
getting there.
They're there.
And it was ballpark low figure, 200,000 to put in another system above ground.
Above ground.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to look, I mean, we can't continue that, because if we continue to have problems, then there's, could be big problems. DEC could be involved.
We pretty much got to do that 8600 repair.
Oh, absolutely.
That's unavoidable,
Yeah.
or we'll have problems.
Is that underground now? or is
Yeah,
it-
But they can do it through, it's in a sleeve, so they can do it through pulling it back through that sleeve, however. Conduit.
Done with you, Greg?
I think so.
That's all I have to gas.
Good. Yeah, hospital.
Okay, yes. First off, Kevin McCarroll is our board secretary, and he created a letter to go to Lisa Stefanik, member of the House of Representatives, to strongly encourage, as was strongly encouraged by the hospital trustees in New York and the Hospital Association of New York, who, she voted for the American Health Care Act, Medicaid cuts that harm the patients' communities, and we see it from the hospital side of it having a fairly big threat on our hospitals. So he circulated a letter to ask her to reconsider that. All the board members signed one individually and as a group. And if there's any interest in something like that, I'd share that letter with Terry, and she could share it with the rest of the legislators as well. But we're kind of opposed to losing our hospital with the Medicaid cuts, is what it boils down to. Our year-to-date surplus up at the hospital is $3,597,000 versus a budgeted surplus of $718,000. Liability of the county is 1.9, and we continue to be on a target to continue to pay that. We haven't heard from the funding source that was going to pay off some of our long-term debt. We expected to hear by the end of June, we didn't, so we're into July, so now we expect to hear by the end of July. It seems that at the end of the month is when we take a look at this and say yes or no, but we're going to let us know if we can have it or not. Our SNF occupancy rate was 92.5% versus a budget of 93, so that was pretty good. Since that happened, you all read the paper probably with Carthage and their long-term care. We've offered space to anybody from there that we have beds for, and the different floors are different levels of care, so it has to be a match for the level of care and the bed opening, but we're going to offer all that we can to support that. We're looking at some of their workers on a contract basis from Carthage, so that we have staff enough to handle the influx, and we've been short-staffed for quite a while, so that may get our staffing levels in a more manageable model. Our CHAR visits, that's the home health care, we're above budget by 191 visits. Some of this is because we're fully staffed now. We were going through some staffing where we had changes in staffing, so that's a very good plus for us. Dr. Lynn Pisanello reported that Shereen Palmer, MD, was elected as president of the medical staff, Dr. Tuttle Malone, vice president, and Dr. Vora, secretary treasurer. That was effective July 1st, 2017. Mrs. Jones congratulated Stacy McConnell, staff accountant, as the employee of the month for April. And last but not least, Mike Young shared a group thank you note that Dr. Domingo sent to the Board of Managers. We named the maternity wing at Lewis County General Hospital after her, and she added that she and her family will always be grateful to everything Lewis County General Hospital has done for them. For any questions, that's it.
I got a question on the long-term care. You said they were gonna contract hire some of the personnel from Carthage?
Yes.
Rather than hiring them on
Yep.
contract?
Yep.
Contract them out?
That's
Are
considered-
they gonna take a bunch of them, or?
We're going to take some of them. There was nothing about all of them, but we're going, so that we bring our staffing levels up to our need.
Because I personally know, because I've been through that already, I personally know that you're very understaffed in the nursing home after that. I mean, I've watched it, I almost thought it was disgraceful how understaffed they were and how long it took to bring somebody, get somebody into a room with a patient, that had run the buzzer 4 or 5 times. That it was kind of discouraging. So that would be very helpful if they can get enough people in there.
Yep, that should bring our staffing levels up where they ought to be.
What about how many patients do you think will be coming from Carthage?
As of that meeting, Phil, we didn't know yet, but we're at 93% filled, so it's not going to be all the patients from there.
Well, what does that mean for how many vacancies if you got 93%?
160 beds, so 90% of 160 is 140 some, so
10%.
you're probably talking 8, 10 beds.
Okay.
But they don't have to come here. We're just offer, and they can go to Samaritan, I think they can go at the place of their choice. But we're expecting that we'll fill up the rest of our beds.
You still finalizing the contract, or, so that's why the person hasn't been announced yet? Or did I miss the announcement?
No.
Okay.
If you want to go to executive session, we can talk a little more. It's
Oh,
personal.
no, that's
Yeah.
fine, that's fine. I was just curious.
What's the Watertown Daily Times, we're suspecting maybe next Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. It's pending.
Pardon?
It's pending.
Yes.
Okay. Did predict? Very good. Thank you, Dick. Unfortunately, Andrea won't be able to be with us tonight, but Pat Frolic from the Community Service Board, I think will give us a little update on our opioid abuse problems. And I think she has some interesting news on the state passing laws and federal laws, so.
And also, the information I sent to Andrea earlier today, in your packets, I've included information that can be helpful to your constituents, as well as information that is opioid specific. In your packets, Fidelis Care, which is a Medicaid and Medicare managed care organization, is going to have representatives at all the Lewis County food pantries in the month of July, and I have that schedule in your packet. Our office has been working with the Mountain View Prevention Services Board, Office of Alcohol and Substance Abuse Services, as they look to hire a new executive director, as well as they look to review their strategic plan and look at going forward. And then in regards to the opioid, on the local level, last month I reported that Jim Scordo from Credo and Dr. Pisanello were going to speak to the medical staff. That meeting did happen. They spoke not only to members, the physicians, but apparently they had medical students as well. So what I was told is they really felt it was a beneficial contact, and we'll see what happens going forward. I continue to coordinate the grassroots efforts in the county. We've had our second meeting We really are kind of still forming a little bit, but all in our agreement of using the same kind of information so that our county people are getting consistent information, making sure it's accurate, and making sure that they know where to go to in case they have to have some support. And then at the state level, there was several bills proposed this month. And the bills were kind of, I don't want to say all over the place, but they were from the legal aspects, meaning that they were holding drug dealers accountable, creating drug-free zones around drug and alcohol treatment centers, such as they are around schools, new penalties for heroin sales, making it easier to prosecute heroin dealers, cracking down on black market prescription drugs, prohibiting dangerous synthetic drugs, cracking down on the sale of carfentanil, conforming state-controlled substances with federal schedules, looking to protect our children from drug abuse, toughening penalties for the sale of controlled substances to minors, limiting children's opioid exposure. Let's see. Requiring patient counseling prior to giving a prescription for opioids, preventing predatory and deceptive substance abuse treatment, expanding access to funding for state substance abuse services, making state peer engagement programs permanent, and that was it. That was what was proposed. I have not heard of the outcomes of those proposals at the state level.
That's an aggressive agenda.
Oh my goodness, yes, and it came, a lot of it was recommended by the opiate task force.
You talked a little faster than I could listen on
Oh,
that.
sorry.
Fidelis
I get
and,
anxious.
don't get anxious. What about the Fidelis and the food pantries? What is the,
They're having one of their, I don't want to say salespersons, but their community representatives are going to have that be at each of the food pantries in the month of July. And they're going to be available to anybody who has any questions, help people sign up, kind of give them directions and assistance going forward.
okay.
All right. Any other questions, any other things I can?
I'd just like to say one thing. You know, you listed all those laws, but I think what you're doing at the grassroots level is vitally important and more effective than all those laws, probably.
Hope so.
Well, we all hope so, but
Yeah, thanks for all you do, Pat.
Oh my goodness, thank you. It's not, and it's just not me, I'm just the voice. It's a whole bunch of people working together.
and I understand that, but it's grassroots that makes a difference, I think.
And for my report, I usually am able to inform you about some interesting travel. I really didn't have any place to go this month except for when it came down to Modown. I said I better go over and check that out, so I did make an appearance there. I'll grant it was, other than a lot of mud, it was neat and tidy and people were friendly. And I see to watch the security people in action, just checking everybody. But as far as all the smoking devices and stuff that were going on, I guess you'd have to send somebody else because I didn't recognize them. And I did talk with the executive director for the group there, Judy, and she was just glad that somebody from the county showed up and showed some interest in the project, so I'm glad I went. But other than that, that's my report. County manager report, our new county manager will give his first report now. Go ahead, Ryan.
Sure. I've spent the last couple of weeks mostly just trying to get to know everybody, learning the faces and the names, getting out to all the departments and trying to take a tour and learning about everything that they do. I was able to go to the hospital board and the IDA board as well, so trying to cover our bases here at first. Big things happening from the county manager perspective is Tyler Munis is one big thing that Liz was updating you guys on consistently. We've got our payroll rollout next week, so that'll be the first payroll period that's completely on our Tyler Munis system. So we've been having daily status calls with the Tyler Munis folks and our folks from Patty's office trying to pull everything together. We're optimistic that we'll be able to fully use the Tyler Munis system next week. If not, we have backup plans, but we're hoping to be fully on the system next week. So that'll be a good thing. And then from there, we'll have to push further into the capability. We can't forget about the contract system that we purchased along with the payroll and the ledger system. And then there's, you know, everything down to even maintenance requests can go through the Tyler Munis system. So we'll keep pushing on that. Shared services is something that's coming down from New York State. We have until September 15th to pass a shared service initiative through all of the, basically it's a consortium or panel that consists of myself and all the town supervisors and mayors in Lewis County. So given the timeline this year and the transition between Liz and myself and the mandate that it has to actually save property tax, which means we're talking about something that has to be a sizable project. It can't be, you know, a dog catcher or something. So given all those factors, I think everyone's in agreement that we will go through the steps this year, but maybe opt out of the plan in 2017 and look towards 2018 to put together a more robust shared services agreement, because I think there might be some more opportunities on the table in Lewis County to save money, but it's going to take a lot longer than 2 months to put that together. So just for your information, we're having public hearings. By law, we have to have 3 public hearings to get input on the shared service initiative. They're going to be in this building Monday, July 17th, Tuesday, August 15th, and Thursday, August 31st, and those are each at 7 o'clock. On the August 31st meeting, we're hoping that, well, we picked August 31st specifically so that everybody from all the townships can attend. So the goal there is to absolutely have a quorum so that we can vote on our final determination. So that's where we are with the shared service. Yeah.
You hit your 1-1 with the middle date.
Yep, August 15th at 7 o'clock.
At 7 a.m.?
PM. 7 p.m. So, and then, you know, maybe towards 2018, we can generate some more robust movement on that. Last thing, I wanted to remind you guys of the invitation to Fort Drum on July 24th. The general has invited the county legislature to attend and tour the facility and learn more about their air traffic control capabilities. So if you would like to attend, you gotta let Terry know by July 12th. So we can submit our names to the main gate for security and everything. That's all I have.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Ryan?
Jerry, you think they'll do a background check on you like the governor's doing for the...
What, to get them in? Thanks, rub it in.
Are you on the Black River Red Lane District yet?
Not yet. No, I'm just out there in left field.
That's okay. Jerry, it took me 2 weeks just to get my badge to get in the front door here, so.
Oh, I don't feel quite as bad then. It took you that long to get there.
Okay, before we go to resolutions, we still have our public hearing open. Would anyone from the public care make any further comment regarding our local law to provide establishment of a wireless communication surcharge? Anyone else at this time? Okay, I'll announce that public hearing is closed. Terry, report the Ways and Means Committee, please, 7.
The Ways and Means Committee reports that they've examined the claims presented for payment in the total amount of $897,001 and recommend that they be audited and allowed for the amounts claimed.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
First resolution is auditing and allowing the claims in the amount of $897,001.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan?
Yes.
Chartran?
Yes.
Dahlhoff?
Yes.
Fawcett?
Yes.
Halfway,
Yes.
King,
Yes.
Causer,
Yes.
Mosher,
Yes.
Tabor.
Yes.
And adopting local law number 4, providing for the establishment of wireless communication surcharges.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion? That's probably the only thing to add to this resolution. I'm sure none of us enjoy a new tax, but it's all about keeping it fair as well. Any other comments?
Mike, as I remember this, some of the reading I had, we're one of only 2 left counties in the state.
I
something
think
like
it's
that.
about 7.
About 7 now,
Yeah.
so we've resisted this for quite a number of years.
Yeah, yeah.
When you brought this up 2 or 3 years ago, and we didn't pass it because it was only gonna be $12,000 or $15,000, and now all of a sudden we think it's gonna be 30 to 50.
More cell
Does that
phones,
make,
more cell phones out there.
that's a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Everyone's
And there's a lot of people that have dropped their home phones, so there's been a,
And to be honest, I'm not so sure anybody ever had a really handle on how much that figure is gonna be. You know, they're all estimates,
Which number?
either one. Maybe the last couple of years ago, I recall, it was an estimate, the best we could gather. I'm not sure how the figure was generated this time around. But it's obvious there are more cell phones, so, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, as Phil was saying and stuff, I mean, as people are getting rid of their home phones and going to that side's been drastically dropping from where we were. And gotta be going somewhere, so they're getting the cell phones, we're just gonna flop over to it. And I think someone mentioned it here earlier. I mean, as far as taxes go, doing it this way is probably one of the fairest ones, because all the people that have phones are hit here, where if you do it on the tax base, if you don't own property, we miss you.
Haven't we had difficulty getting the money from the state in the past for this period? Am I confusing it with something else?
This is new for us here. They will collect it and distribute it to us. From the landlines, supposedly, we've been getting that money.
We haven't had any issues getting
Well,
that money?
What they've been doing, like to build the radio system out, the money they gave there, a lot of this came from the 911 surcharge. So they sat on it, turned around and fed it back to us in this grant, like $6 million to help pay for the radio system.
So this is set up different than the other one.
Yeah.
This is, they collect, they send it to us. But
Right.
the other one, we had to beg for it.
Well, they were supposed to send us our share, but it
But
never
they
happened.
weren't doing it, were they?
No.
That was my recollection.
No, they never sent
Back, I don't think over half of what they took in.
So really, the money we got from the grant money was our money to begin with anyway.
Sure.
My understanding, Phil, for this year, we got $539,000 and divided amongst quite a few entities that already have radio systems. And they're setting on another $20 million of the same fund, and they're gonna spend it the way they see fit. Whether it's close out this system, add this to that system, so.
Jerry, do we know if we enact this law, do they take an administrative fee out for the collection of it?
That I cannot.
I don't believe they will. They plan to take the administrative fee, but they haven't calculated what that's gonna be yet.
Oh, of course not.
A few cents, something like that, 25 cents or something.
Well, if history, yeah,
10% of
not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
But even, Phil, like with the landline usage dropping, so use me for an example, when the broadband is up and running, that'll be another, because I still have to have a telephone line for my DSL. So when I drop that, that's another revenue loss on that end, the 911. And
I just don't wanna get into a situation.
No, I know what
like-
you're saying.
Like what we're doing with the landlines,
Yeah.
if we don't get the money.
No, I agree with
that.
you.
That was my biggest
Yeah.
concern.
No.
And
I'll find out exactly what we were getting in the past few years and where we were max safe. As far as back as they can go, so you can see the difference in shift.
yeah, I seem to recall you proposing resolutions that tell them, or ask them to give us the money that is our money.
Yeah.
Actually, I think.
You or Mike, one or the other.
Yeah, we have, but
So this wouldn't happen in this case.
Hopefully not.
Don't the state have their own separate tax on their phone?
yeah.
They do charge a tax on their cell phone, you'll see on
That's
your
the
bill.
money that's difficult getting our share of.
And it was
This
supposed
is
to go.
different. This is why counties started coming up with their own revenue for individually, because they were having trouble getting it from the state, so they took it upon themselves to create that tax.
And this money, there's only certain things you can spend it for.
Right.
That's pretty much the 911 system up there, as far as taking it out and putting in a radio system. You can't.
That's a do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, there's certain things that we're allowed to do with it and other things that we can't, so. But it helps with actual 911, all the dispatch up there and,
I get all that, it just,
Upgrades
it
we've made.
gets frustrating to see time and time again,
yeah.
where Big Brother in Albany skims off the top, and the poor guy down here has to pay the bill.
Okay, any other further questions or comments on the resolution? Be a roll call vote, please, Terry?
Brennan,
Yes.
Chartran,
Yes.
Dahlhoff,
Yes.
Fawcett,
Yes.
Hathaway,
I was all set to say no, and you guys convinced me yes.
King,
Yes.
Coulter,
Yes.
Mosher,
Yes.
Tabo.
Yes.
Authorizing grant application for Lewis County ATV trail system.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry, or Rocky. Discussion?
They look like,
They're both wearing green shirts.
this isn't very specific. Do we know what we're gonna try to apply for?
The NERCO. The NERCO one.
No, this is a CFA for
This is-
Trails.
the trails.
Which includes the vehicle as well.
We're gonna apply for a vehicle?
Yep, that's used on the
A
trail.
CFA grant
Yeah, grant.
that would cover the purchase of a vehicle.
That's what we're gonna ask the grant for. I didn't see that, so I'm okay.
And it's
Okay.
also for upgrading some of the park areas along the trail as well, like Singing Waters and
Okay.
Any other questions, comments on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Fixing date of public hearing on additions to the ATV trail system.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, capital county projects.
Moved by Phil, second by Craig. Discussion?
Does some of this funding go into the account for cleanup of Blake property and stuff? That's what this is?
That's what this is
That's what
intended
this is.
for.
Okay, okay.
Yep,
Clean up blighted property,
yep.
have we chosen any property that helps clean up?
No, we have in the past, and this is to kind of replenish the fund and build it up a little bit further. So if we have a severe blighted property, we have the means to clean it up.
Remember when we had to do the cleanup in Gray?
Yeah.
And that's how this all got started.
Which would, any expenditure of this money would be voted on in this.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
This is, covers the cheese plant too.
you could, yep.
For what? For where part of it?
Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Application for Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
Moved by Larry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To adopt Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, District Attorney.
Moved by Jerry, second by Brian. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To transfer funds, District Attorney.
Moved by Jerry, second by Rocky. Discussion. Brian.
What are all the costs, like, I understand the autopsy, but like the hospital bills and like that? I mean, is it because of the drug deaths and stuff that were so over?
Well, it's they do, I believe, a lot of them there at the hospital, so it's charged with the Rome x-rays and everything else that when they do the autopsies.
Okay.
And I don't know what they charge for the room that they do it.
Right, I was just curious why it
Yeah.
was.
It's blood toxology and different stuff.
Because of the epidemic.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Did your committee get a breakdown of what that cost was, that 30,000?
That's what she's roughly over. She's already spent her allocation for the year.
I get it.
And the way it's projecting, so instead of coming back to well 4 or 5 times, we've tried to project, so she's not we're having to come back every month or so.
Okay,
So
thank you.
That's an estimate of what it will be for the year, if we stay on the track we're on.
Yeah, it's just vague, various expenses.
Yeah.
It's pretty vague.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
In support of the Property Tax Reduction Act to eliminate the local share contribution to the state share of Medicaid funding.
Moved by Phil, second by Jerry. Discussion.
I appreciate this. We all should appreciate this, particularly our taxpayers should appreciate this.
This identifies the good part of the whole healthcare act that should not get forgotten.
Exactly right, and Joan has written it just right, I think.
Yeah, there's some very good points in it.
I really think we ought to send it to all our representatives, particularly the two that proposed this, Fazo and Collins. It says we're gonna send it to ours, but I think we ought to send it to them as well to let them know we appreciate the fact.
Can we make that, Terry?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, good. Any other comments or questions on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing engineering services agreement between County Highway Department of Barton and the Judas.
Moved by Craig, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I will abstain from that resolution.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Human Resources Department.
Moved by Jerry, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing agreement between Human Resources and Pivot Employee Assistance Program.
Moved by Brian, second by Larry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing member to Junkyard Review Board.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? Phil?
Brian, isn't this the one that was a lot of issues surrounding the junkyard?
I'm wondering if it isn't a conflict of interest
Well,
myself.
I think that possibly it might make the meetings interesting if this individual never would show up at meetings. But he did volunteer. I mean, his property.
He certainly knows the rules.
He knows the rules.
He ought to be well versed on
I mean, he's very well reversed in the rules.
Is he
I mean,
compliant?
He
Yes,
is
he is.
compliant.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, he has, he had no issues becoming compliant right from the get-go. It's just that the interpretation, individual interpreting, the other end of it is where a lot of the issues were.
So you're comfortable?
I'm very comfortable with Mr. Catlin in this position. Very comfortable.
I like Mr. Cathline, but I can see where if he wanted to keep his competition thin,
Yeah,
he's in a position to do it.
yeah, I don't, To this point, Phil, I mean, we've had 2 positions open. They had someone that that Joan looked into it and said it was okay if he wanted to be appointed. He lives outside the county, but he owns property in the county. He's supposed to be at the last 2 meetings to be talked to see if he was interested and put forth his name, never showed up. So, I mean, like I said earlier, the last 2 meetings, we haven't even had a quorum with them.
This is kind of an advisory situation. Or do they have final approvals?
Well, they kind of have approval. I mean, Ward goes through, so if you or I too were to apply for a junkyard license, we go to Ward, he checks the zoning laws, the seeker, they do the seekers, the planning department does the seekers to make sure everything's okay, make sure they have all the property they need and everything. They go through all that, then Ward presents it to the review board, and that's been my argument though. They present it to the review board, but if Ward does all the process and everything's A-okay through Ward, really the review board, by rights, is gotta approve it. There's no yes or no.
But they have the final.
They have the final approval, so.
Okay.
I wonder, Joan, is there, in your eyes, is there an ethical issue here?
No, I don't believe so. He's
Okay.
in compliance. You make a good point about whether or not it would affect other junkyards, but truthfully, you know, I don't see that as becoming a conflict. And I'm going to voice my opinion on the review board, and because I've talked extensively with Brian about this, if it's not resolved, it comes to me. It comes to my office and through codes department and our office. I agree with Brian, it's another step in the process that eventually, given the fact that it's so hard to get people on that board to serve and to have a quorum, to me, it's a waste of time, but.
I mean, on my end, I just have, if I stay on this committee, we don't know what committees we're gonna be on next year, starting next year, but I have to do a better job of following through with Joan and with Ward when I drop the ball on that part. I mean, but we're very capable of doing that right at the committee level, of just following through, and Joan has already agreed that Ward gives us updates, Joan can give us updates when she goes to court, and follow through the judges and stuff, and that's, but at the review board, I mean, I don't know what the legal aspect of dissolving them in, if we can just decide to do that, or.
Well, we have to change the local law.
We have to change the local
We'll make
law,
an amendment,
have
so
a
we're
public
working
hearing
on it.
and all that, so.
So we gotta coordinate that.
Yeah.
Jerry,
But what I have seen them, Phil, and other fellow legislators, that with Ward coming in and making recommendations, they've been pretty good about following, okay? There hasn't been animosity there was previously, so they seem to be working together.
But with some of the changes in the local law that we're proposing to do, for the first couple months, we're all gonna get a bunch of phone calls. Because if Ward is gonna go around in his travels and he sees a violation, that office is gonna start making notice of it. So they're either gonna knock on the door and make the people aware, or else they're going to send them a letter saying that they're out of compliance with the junkyard. So I'm just preparing all of you that, for the first couple months, if we go ahead and do the proposed change in the law and stuff, that we are gonna get a lot of grief from our constituents for a little while.
Where are we at on that, Brian?
Well,
I read the proposed law changes.
well,
No, we're doing new ones.
we're doing new
Yeah.
one. Because of see now this is all gonna be delayed, if the review board's gonna stay intact to the first year.
Well, but, I mean, we can still work on
Right.
it and have it ready right now. If the review board ended today or next month, we don't have anything passed.
Passed, right.
So you're talking about, once we
Right.
get it, at least 2 months
Yeah,
to move it. So you're talking about August, September.
and we can have it take effect starting in January,
Right.
so.
Any further discussion on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to Office for the Aging.
Moved by Rocky, second by Greg. Discussion? Brian?
Is Brenda? I see one of the resolutions we're doing something with Miracle,
Yes.
some of your services. Does any of that overlap with these positions at all? Because I didn't see the resolution for Miracle when it came to us in front of HR, so.
No, it doesn't.
It
Well,
doesn't.
the long-term care coordinator is responsible for the New York Connects program.
Okay.
But the resolution you see for the MOU with Miracle
Mhm.
is required by the State Office for the Aging that we do that.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you.
Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing MOU between county and among the Lewis County Office for Aging, Regional Center for Independent Living, BSS, and Northern Regional Center for Independent Living with New York Connects.
Moved by Larry, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To amend procurement policy and appoint county manager as sole responsible purchaser.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion?
Look at them a little closer now.
340's card.
All in
He's
favor?
leaving in December, Brian, don't worry.
All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing lease agreement between the hospital and public health.
Moved by Rocky, second by Brian. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing ancillary practitioners agreement between public health and MVP.
Moved by Jerry, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Approving agreement between public health and Department of Health for children with special health care needs program.
Moved by Brian, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to recreation, forestry, and parks.
Moved by Brian, second by Craig. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Mike, on that last one that we just did, it talks about a 3-year total in there, but we only approved year 1, right? On 263.
Now, it's approving
Approve
the
the
entire
entire
grant.
Okay.
It's broken down by
Yeah.
year, but the
Well, we got
grant
all right.
itself is.
Okay, good.
Okay, next, Terry.
Authorizing discharge of mortgage, Yvonne Rose.
Moved by Craig, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing opening a portion of County Route 46 Osceola Road for snowmobiles.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, social services.
Moved by Phil, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds for social services.
Moved by Rocky, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Stop DWI program.
Moved by Dick, second by Jerry. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
To appropriate funds, Workforce Investment Act.
Moved by Rocky, second by Greg. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appropriate funds, Workforce Investment Act.
Moved by Craig, second by Rocky. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Designating Jeff Lewis's local workforce development area and authorizing the chief executive officials to each county to enter into an agreement to administer the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
Moved by Jerry, second by Larry. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Authorizing increase for resource allocation plan.
Moved by Rocky, second by Jerry. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Late resolution number 274, appropriate funds, community services.
Moved by Phil, second by Larry. Discussion. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Carried.
Amending compensation plan with reference to county clerk.
Moved by Craig, second by Rocky. Discussion.
I have one concern. The way this reads, because this position is already there, this person is already there, the way this reads, it allows her to fill said position up to maximum 3 months. The way that reads to me is that we can fill another position, bring in another person. This position is already there at 35 hours a week, we approved that last month. The issue is just upgrading the pay.
The reason the pay is being upgraded is because
I'm not asking about the pay, Craig. The way this reads is that you're filling a new position. The position is already there. The position is already there, just at a lower rate of pay.
So what's the,
Well, that's why they had to change it and put this in there, because you can't put the girl in the position without paying her for that level of service required by,
So this basically corrects.
Well, but
this corrects her wrong. She was getting a minimum wage and
She
she
was
has to
get-
be paid at the clerk pay.
Does she?
Yes, according to Mary Lou.
and
And Chris, would you,
She's a summer intern, so
The union has not raised the issue because her title is
That's right.
summer intern. But now I understand she's going to be doing commercial work, which the union could raise that as union pay scale. They haven't done that, but it is a possibility.
and I understand that. I guess if I would have approached it a different way, if the union would have come, then I would have raised it, but if we don't have to raise it, don't raise it.
I do have another question. What's she doing now? I mean, she's filling somebody's job already, am I wrong?
she's temporary summer help.
Teller work is,
But
Yeah.
she's still,
She was making for filling up for a backlog of activity with the dealers.
well, now, when we sat in HR the other day, and I'm just trying to figure this one out, it confused me too. It was my understanding this person might work different, like if we did it, which you proposed at our committee meeting, was that this person may do after hours and this and that. Now we've kind of reversed it, and they're doing it through the regular hours. So, where are we at on that?
I wasn't in the committee, Mr. King, so I don't know what the conversation was.
You were in
I don't think
HR.
we agreed to the hours
This
that
did not
she'd be
make it-
working.
I'm sorry, but this didn't come through normal HR committee because Ways and Means met after our HR committee meeting. I sent it out to you three in an email because it was made known to me after the Ways and Means committee that committee had authorized this action to be taken.
And
Okay,
the
but-
understanding in committee, Jerry, was that she would use them in a fashion that was outside of normal hours to catch up on the backlog with the dealers and their registrations, their packets.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't see where that changes here.
No, I guess, but the state computers only work certain, you can only use them certain hours.
Now, according to her, you can use them
Well, then
24/7.
why has there always been a sign down on the door that state computers are only on from 8:30 to 3:30?
I can't answer that, but I asked them that specific.
That's
Didn't
my
I?
question.
Well, if we
That's
got it right,
because
I'm
they
fine.
want to get out of there by 4 o'clock.
Okay, well,
They gotta
I
do
guess
their
that
audit,
would be
huh?
another issue, then I would question it. If the state computers are on longer, then why aren't they using the computer system up to the end of their workday? So that's another issue.
The answer would be, that I have heard would be that they need to do X amount of work after the computers shut down. So if the computers are there until closing time, then we'd be paying overtime for the,
That's fine.
that was the answer that was been given in the
That's fine.
past.
I mean, and you all got my email, I just have concerns because we turned down 5 upgrades to full-time employees in the last year and a half, and then we're gonna give a $4 increase to this person, so I guess that's.
For a period of 3 months.
Yeah, over a period, it doesn't matter. What does that say to the full-time employees?
My understanding of it is, we're not giving her a $4 raise. The duties that she was doing was at the price that we were paying her, at the wage we were paying her. These are higher class level duties that she's doing now. So we're putting her to the class she was doing. We have a person out there who comes from down here about 5 hours a day right now and inputs dealer work so that we can have our 3 dealers in Lewis County get their paperwork back to our constituents who deal with those dealers in a reasonable amount of time. This position is going to do that work now so that the clerk of the department can go back and do her other supervisory duties and other duties that she needs to do.
I understand that, Dick.
So it's not a raise.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
You're
not.
giving her a $4 an hour increase. So,
We're changing
Jenny,
the
I'm
whole
gonna
duty.
ask you, you have summer interns down there, correct? Do they work at intern rate, or do they work at the rate of the job that they do?
In truth, we've done it both ways, looking at interns. So many times our interns are unpaid, so it depends on how we get them. When we've had prac interns in the past, this year we don't have any. We did actually subsidize from the minimum wage to a higher level pay, commensurate with extra duties like transporting children and monitoring children. But other ones that we've had, like all our summer youth kids, are at minimum wage.
We're making this pay commensurate with the duties we're asking the employee to do.
I understand that.
Are we done with that then?
If they're doing 5 hours additional, what are they doing the other rest of the day? At what level?
They're doing more of this duties. They're not just doing the other duties. They're doing, because right now, if you go down there, you're out the door for about an hour and 20 minutes to get through the process and get around. That's going to reduce that hour and 20-minute wait that people are standing in line to do right now. That's how I understand it. But where I do have a question is one that you raised, Brian, is how long a period of time did we agree originally for this person? Because I thought it only went until like September when they went back to college. So
No,
there may be a problem in that.
It's up to the middle of August. It was a 3-month period.
Okay, so.
It was up to, I forget what the resolution was, to the point where the person goes back to college in August.
Yeah, so.
But then you did authorize the person to stay there through the end of the year, to December 31st, but after she goes back to college, it will revert back to lesser hours.
Yes, it's lesser pay, yeah. Okay, so we did cover that.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready to vote on the resolution? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Sean Ryan opposed? And Jerry opposed? Resolution passes. Other business, Jerry has a proclamation.
Could you, for invasive species awareness? Invasive species have been affecting our lives for hundreds of years. Our highly mobile society has transported organisms into non-native habitat, causing havoc in our natural and man-made environments. Many different ways invasive species have been brought in include insects on shipping crates, infested firewood that has been transported, boats traveling between waterways, the ornamental plant industry, construction equipment, and recreation. In the U.S. alone, invasive species have cost over $138 billion per year in economic loss and control costs that affect every walk of life. In Lewis County, we have experienced infestations of Japanese knotweed, giant hogweed, purple loose stripe, Japanese honeysuckle, glossy buckthorn, Eurasian water milfoil, fragments, and the hemlock woolly algae. Where's Michelle?
Yeah.
She should
That's,
read it.
that's the worst part, she left.
Michelle,
Michelle had to leave.
it's ADELGID, and kill hemlock trees. Whereas the most economical method of invasive species control is early detection, which requires public education. The Lewis County Soil and Water Conservation District would like to educate residents of Lewis County by increasing awareness in concert with New York Invasive Species Awareness Week, and encourage and direct persons to visit their website for more information on invasive species in our region. It's going to be the week of July 9 to July 15.
Is that an invasive species?
It's my invasive species.
That invaded my office.
I think it come in from Ohio, do you?
Okay, thank you, Terry. And next month will be our golf outing, so if no one has an objection, we'd like a motion to change our meeting time to 9:30 a.m. August 1st. Have a motion? Rocky makes a motion, second by Larry. Discussion?
Was that 9:30 or 10?
We asked for 9:30 due to scheduling.
Okay, because one of the
Yeah.
resolutions had 10 a.m.
Correct, so we'll have to open the public hearing
At
at
10 a.m.,
10.
okay.
Other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anyone else have anything to come before the meeting?
The golfing will be at Turin Highlands, and we will have the meal at the Alpine Restaurant.
Okay.
What time's the meal? 5 o'clock?
5:30.
I make the motion to adjourn.
Did you say Alpine?
Yes.
Craig has a motion to adjourn, second by Brian. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are
Terry, did
adjourned.
close their kitchen at turn?